New strategy game announced with a new demo. Yes! But the game got cancelled immediately. What in the world is happening? Hello there, strategy gamers, and welcome to my humble channel where I talk all things strategy games. Today, I was reminded of a rather difficult situation many developers have found themselves in lately. Doubly tough if you are an independent studio making PC strategy games. Just recently, we've had Flaming Fowl Studios, developers of Gloomhaven, a PC game adaptation of a tabletop game, release the demo of their new game, only to then announce that they are suspending development for it and retrenching half the studio. Wait. They had 30 and now they're down to 9, so that's more than half. Yeah, it's not a fun thing, and maybe in the case of Flaming Fowl Studios, releasing the demo of the game that may never ever be developed, that seems like a rather weird move. But, maybe not so much if you understand their desperation. Maybe if a lot of people play the demo, maybe if many of you wish listed the game, maybe they could find someone who would take risk to finance its development. But unfortunately, if you've played the demo, you would know that it's in a pretty rough state. I mean, it's in what I'd say an early alpha state, not by any means an indication of how good the game is. It's really only a proof of concept if you ask me. The game Ironmarked is a card-based tactical battle adventure, which I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but it takes the card battlers and puts it on a 3D battle space, which is interesting and maybe frustrating since even moving your units, you need to use cards to do that. And if you don't get them aligned with the enemy, you can't actually attack them. And if you don't have the cards, then you can't even move them. What we have in the demo isn't quite fun yet, it hasn't found the fun yet in it, but gives us an idea of the potential for the game. I think it's okay and perhaps a more casual approach. It definitely feels like a more casual sort of approach to tactics games. The hop in, do a battle or two, and then hop out. It seems like the story has some branching parts that you automatically progress after battles. There's not much of control beyond the battles. I do feel though the 3D battle map for a card battler is bound to introduce more problems for the devs, but as I said, we don't know if this will ever materialize as a game. According to the CEO, Ironmarked had a publisher who actually pitched them last year. Despite positive words from other new publishers, none were willing to take them on right now. And this is an all too familiar scenario today. Companies like Relic, who has had to let go of a huge number of people and leave Sega and go indie, basically. Then you have Creative Assembly, they've had to shed a large number of people, although you could blame it on the cancellation of their shooter Hyenas. But it's probably more than just that, Total War has not had a great time recently as well. So we don't quite know how that will affect that studio yet. And also Paradox and Harebrained Scheme splitting up with the failure of Lamplighters League. I'm sure this rather risk-averse state with publishers goes beyond strategy games, but it does seem to me more and more that the more niche audience for the strategy subgenres, such as the tactics genres being one of them, is a bit harder to sell to investors and publishers. Beyond massive strategy games with huge companies behind them, pretty established games like Civilization, Total War, which, as I mentioned, has its own problem, Age of Empires with Big Daddy Microsoft. Sorry, Relic, they couldn't actually save you guys. It does look like the strategy genre is facing the brunt of the tough video game market more than most other genres. Well, at least it's still not as bad as the adventure game genres. Sorry, adventure game fans. But despite all of this, you have the outliers, like the soon to be released, I guess by the time you're actually watching this video, it's probably released, Manalords, in early access of course, took Steam by storm, becoming one of the most wish-listed game on the platform. And that's mainly been developed by one dude, up to a certain point. And getting that PC Game Pass deal with Microsoft, well, that's a big win for him. Oh, and all this in a rather negative time in the video game industry, that's really impressive. Hooded Horse, a publisher who's take on games like Manalot, is like a shining example of a publisher who's going the opposite direction from others, actually taking risks and growing rapidly in these tough times. Definitely, I'll be checking out most of their games that will be out this year. So, yes, while conventional wisdom among publishers says no at this moment, there will be the few that will take risks and hopefully get ahead of the rest. 2024 is going to be an interesting year for strategy games, no doubt. But the real gems and heroes are probably going to be the indies and the smaller studios. Maybe I should do a video about what indie strategy games to look out for. Anyway, if you haven't checked out my video on Paradox Interactive, check out this video here where I talk about their growing pains as a developer and then a publisher and now a public listed company who has had a few missteps recently. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.